We're back in the garage. We're going to make another video and bring you guys along for the ride. Here with my good mate Clayton, who stores my car for free. Anyway, so sometimes I can get here after work. It's like, I don't know, 4:30 p.m. I finish work, drive over here, do a bit of work on the car, and then go home. So that's kind of the situation we're in. So I've got the laptop out. I've got a list on the go for a bunch of stuff that needs to happen to this before, firstly, we go to the drags, and then when we go to Rockynats in April. So I've entered, and that's been approved. We're going to camp. Clayton's not coming. Clayton can come. It's Easter weekend, so it's the first weekend of April, and it's up in Rockhampton, so about an 8-hour drive from here. So there's a couple of rules and sort of scrutineering things that they want to see from the car, because it's sort of you can drive on the street with your unregistered car, but you need to have like brakes on all four corners. They want an exhaust that goes to at least the diff, and a bunch of other stuff. So we'll have a look at the list, and we might do some more work. I've still got to tidy up the wiring on the AEM fail-safe thing. We had the fuel system buttoned up, but I had to undo all the bolts and stuff. I'd reinstalled the fuel cell and hadn't put the sender unit in, and I couldn't fit it in, so I had to undo all those. Fuel cell's going to come out, and then all the gaskets broke, so I've reordered gasket material for that. That's not here yet, so we can't really do much there, but not sure what this video is going to be, but let's do something. Rightio, so kicking off the list, we've got the fuel cell and the fuel sender. Literally just spoke about that. So the gasket that I'm talking about is that one there. So it's like kind of like a cork thing. It's all busted up. You can see it's all like no good. So I've ordered some more of that specific gasket material, like just the raw material, because you can get those gaskets on eBay, but they're like $18 each, and there's two, so there's one for above the fuel cell aluminium and one for below, and they're both stuffed, and I'm not paying like 30 whatever bucks for some gaskets. So I ordered the gasket material. It cost me like $4, and it's a big roll of it, so we're going to make those. Can't do that yet because it's not here. But once that's done, I need one more 90-degree fuel fitting. This is a -8, and that's for the vent. And that'll be easy. So this is the list, by the way, to get it ready for the test and tune, which we'll be doing ASAP. We need a battery. It doesn't have a battery in it at the moment, so unfortunately can't test any of my wiring, but you know, so be it. We've got to hide the AEM wiring, so it's all wired up. It still needs that relay mechanism that I was talking about. I'm not going to hook that up just yet, so like the fail-safe bit of it, I'm not going to hook up just yet, but we are going to use it as just a AFR gauge to monitor the tune when we go out to the drags. So anyway, we need some plumber's tape. This is like super, you know, proper list. Plumber's tape for the fuel pressure gauge. We've got a fuel pressure gauge to go in there, and it just needs a little bit of sealing tape, like a little bit of Teflon tape or whatever, to go in it so it doesn't leak. And I have no idea where my plumber's tape is. It's gone. So we'll get some of that. We need to get a new air filter because the one that I run is too tall and it would bust through the top of the friggin' the scoop if we had it fitted. So I actually ran the whole of Power Cruise without an air filter on it. So I'd like to get that fixed and get a shorter one. I found one, it's like a short one, and it's got one of those kind of like where the air filter material's on the top of the filter as well. I can get that. It's like reasonably cheap. So that'll bolt on. We're going to get these tires mounted as drag radials. Got 2 of them. I think I showed them in a previous video, but if not, there's a look at them. They're pretty busted up already. Old mate doing mad skids in them, obviously. But they'll do, and we only need them. There's the wear indicator. We only need them to run a couple of runs. I'm not too worried about them sort of delaminating or whatever. They'll be right. They'll at least be better than the ones that are on there. Yeah, the rest, we've got the fuel system. It still needs tidying up. So I've decided on like a bit of a different routing of the fuel supply line up to and how it sort of gets into the bay. So I'm going to use like another bulkhead fitting, and I'll need another 2 or 3 fittings to make that all work. We'll do that in a future video because I don't actually have any of the stuff for that yet. So we need to go to the fuel fitting shop. I go to Motorsport Accessories. It's in Brisbane. It's on the north side, but there's heaps of places you can go to if it's sort of not close or whatever. But they've always got everything that I ever need. We need some methanol, of course. Probably not going to get a drum of it because I'm not too interested in carting up an entire drum to Rockynats. Pardon me. And we're not going to need 200 litres to go to the drag, so I'll probably just end up getting 20 or 40 or 60 litres or something. I think it's got a 50 litre tank, so we just get 60 litres or something. And some top lube for that. We need trailer hire because I don't own a trailer. I need to organise a tow car because I don't have that either. Not a very good car guy without a tow car or a trailer, but you know, we can work towards that. I need to work towards that because it gets expensive. But anyway, we need to adjust the timing on it. I think the timing, like the initial timing, I think is set too low on this, and I think it could crispen up, and it's just going to make an all-round better quality idle and also better drivability for when you're just sort of cruising around the pits, and better starting and all that sort of stuff. With a bit more timing at idle. I think it's got like 17 degrees in it at the moment, like initial, and then it sort of ramps up, and I think we get up to like sort of 30 degrees or what do we end up with, 30 or 32 or something for total timing on this. So yeah, we'll screw around with that, sort of bring that 17 up, and might try like 24 or 25 or something and sort of see how it goes. We need some fuel cell foam. So I don't know if anyone's ever had this problem, but we've had a problem at Power Cruise just going, where we give it a hit sort of on one of the straights or whatever, and then when you were slowing down, the fuel, I think what was happening was the fuel was sloshing forward, so it was sort of under half a tank. The fuel would slosh forward and uncover the pickup, and we were getting fuel surge. Where like basically the carby bowls were emptying out because there was no fuel getting up there. And it's also just after a big run where, and we had a shit fuel pump in it anyway, so it was not helping the situation. So it needs a bit of that methanol safe fuel foam in it to fix that issue. Or if it doesn't, we'll just keep troubleshooting. But I've got to order a license because I've didn't lose my license, but I lost the physical card, so I have to order another one of those because I know they check that at Willowbank. And the last thing is to install a Turbo 400 regulator. So when I built the Turbo 400 in this thing, it was, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago now, but I remember specifically it says you need to restrict the converter feed hole. I don't know. I didn't do it because I didn't have the tools at the time, and I just sort of threw it together because I was impatient. And then sort of have learned through trolling the forums and speaking to guys and stuff that LS1s have quite sensitive thrust bearings, and what you can get is a situation where you've got a Turbo 400 with a really high line pressure, and it's forcing that into the converter. I think it's a little bit less. I think these run like over 100 psi of line pressure. It's got the max line pressure in it, whatever that might be, that the TCI kit came with. And anyway, so it fills up the converter with a whole lot of pressure, and the converter physically tries to push the crank forward, and the only thing stopping it is that little tiny thrust bearing surface. And if it's left unchecked, they can wear out very quickly, and it can cause dramas, and it can also, obviously, if it gets really bad and you're sort of not keeping an eye on it, it can actually destroy your bottom end, and you've got bearing material everywhere. And anyway, so there's a regulator. It literally bolts onto the side of the case. Ordered one of those. I think it was like $600 from the US, made by ATF Performance, and so that's getting sent over now. You can go on their website if you sort of if that sounds like something you want to run. It's just like a bit of, I don't know, I sort of struggle because on the one hand I want to be safe and I want to have a reliable car, but there's also I don't want to spend money on useless crap that I don't need. So I've decided that this is something that I need, and I'm going to put it on there. So I'll leave it up to you guys if you want to do the same thing. If you've got an LS with a Turbo 400 and you built it, or you're not sure or whatever with the converter pressure, there's ways you can measure it and that sort of thing. So this is, think of it like a fuel pressure regulator where you might have 150 pound trying to go into the converter, but this regulator you can bring it down to sort of 80, and it reduces the forward thrust on the back of the crank by the converter by a considerable amount. So we're going to do that. So for today, I do have to go home shortly, but I think I'm going to get up under here and just sort of tidy up a little bit of this wiring for the AEM. So let's go do that. All right, here's where we got to. Great. Anyway, here's where we got to. We're installing the air-fuel ratio gauge, which is just up there. Here's all the wires from it. We ended up just wiring it up to the power and ground that's already existing in the car. So those are the two wires just coming down there. They just go up to, got a 10 amp fuse for it. It says you only need a 5 amp, but didn't have any 5 amps laying around, so 10 amp it is. And there's the ground for it. So power and ground. The green wire goes to the tachometer, so it can log RPM, and this grey wire here goes to the lights, so that I'm assuming that it dims its little display when you turn the lights on. So that's cool. The rest of these, so we've got the blue one which goes to the relay, which I haven't set up yet, and I probably won't set up for when we go to the drags. And then of course we've got the sender fuel thingy. Comes up here. And you can't even see it, but it goes into the body behind here. So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time just kneading this up. It's not going to be like a super nice job, but we'll just get the zip ties out. We got them ready to go, and just sort of neaten that up a little bit. Oh man, that's better. Put some WD-40 on this squeaky hinge, and man, it has improved my life somewhat. All right, anyway, so this is where we got to with the wiring. The power on the ground, I've just sort of zip tied there. Sorry, can't really see, but yeah, just taped all the rest and just sort of tucked it up there out of the way. It's mostly sort of hidden away, and it's all secure and that. I know it looks terrible, but at least I know what's going on, and that's all that really matters. And it shouldn't burn down. We got lots of fuses. Everything's terminated pretty well, and it just sort of like looks a little bit disorganized, but it's done. So when I get a battery, we'll be able to test this thing, and it should tell us, yeah, it should be working. So happy with that. I think we're going to leave it there for today. I know that seems like such a ridiculous thing to come out for. I come out, hid some wiring, and sort of made a video, but I don't know. It felt like the right thing to do, and you know, some of you guys are going to think this stuff is super boring, and that's cool. We're going to have like better content for you guys coming up. But at the end of the day, I've got to get this thing ready, and I've got to get it finished to a point where I can go out and make that good content. Sort of didn't get a chance to do much filming the last power cruise, and that would have been awesome because they would have got some great footage from that, but we can't go back, so we're going to go forward. So yeah, I'm going to try and do some more uploading and sort of make it like a little bit of more of a regular thing, at least weekly. Upload just some progress videos for you guys, and I don't know, get maybe a regular following, and see where it goes. So yeah, I think that'll be it for today. But yeah, we're just basically going to work my way through this list, bring you guys along for the ride. I know we got Christmas coming up fairly soon. I think it's in like 2 weeks. So everything will obviously be closing down. I'll need to shoot out to get some of these fuel fittings before we close down. And also hoping that regulator will turn up as well, and then we can do some work under there. The exhaust won't be till later, so I might order those mufflers and maybe a few pipes and stuff. And see if maybe we can get our hands on a MIG welder. Even just a cheapie that I can pick up off Gumtree maybe, and maybe have a go at it ourselves. I know I'd like to learn how to, you know, make an exhaust system. I think we could probably MIG something dodgy up here, and it would do just fine. So we'll see. But thanks very much for watching. Any ideas or any feedback or comments or anything, just let me know. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. I am in this for the long haul. I will be doing this for years and years. So it's what I love doing, and I've decided that I want to make videos and I want to share my journey, and you know, hopefully, you know, maybe one of you guys can follow along and build something equally as dodgy yourselves and have some fun. So if we can do that for one person, I'll be happy. So yeah, we'll see you on the next video. Thanks, guys.